The arguments for and against public ownership. So for nationalisation. The profits for the taxpayer and not the shareholders. And the company is more likely to invest back into the infrastructure. Huge amounts of investment. I've just used the example of the water industry. There's often market failure. So those could have positive consumption externalities, e.g. more reservoirs in the UK, or having taking people off the roads. There's market failure in there. So we need to produce more of those goods, and also workers' rights. Analysis, we can have a diagram for this. There will be a decrease in national debt, might have positive externality, so we can draw that diagram. We can draw the natural monopoly diagram. We can talk about the water industry, and also talk about workers' rights. If you work for a privatised company, you're more likely to have 0-hour contracts, low wages, maybe less taxation revenue for the government, etc. So these are the arguments for nationalisation. This is how this worked. The England's East Coast Main Line. So in 1997 it was privatised. In 2009 the National Express coach, they got into financial difficulties. So therefore between 2009 and 2015 it was returned to nationalisation. It then returned 200 million quid to the taxpayer, and then it was sold back to Virgin, and then Virgin ran into financial difficulties as well. So we always have this argument that the nationalised bit always does really badly. But in this case, this is not the case. And also the negatives for nationalisation. There will be an increase in national debt because we got to buy the British rail industry back. There'll be a higher tax burden because we got to invest loads of money into it. Less incentive to be efficient, and the government may run out of funds. So these are all reasons as to why nationalisation may not work. Okay, an increase in national debt. Less efficient, that's probably the big one. Less dynamic efficiency, less incentive to be efficient, higher tax burden, and the government may run out of funds. Public ownership, privatisation, regulation, deregulation, 2023. The arguments for and against the public ownership of firms and industry. So there's 5 arguments for and 4 against. I think what that means. The 5 arguments for. Number 1, natural monopoly. Number 2, the government can invest enormous sums of money into it. Number 3, positive consumption externalities. Number 4, an improvement in workers' rights. I can't remember what the 5th one is. Okay, the arguments for and against privatisation. The arguments for and against regulation. The arguments for and against the deregulation of markets. Remember, the deregulation of markets is opening up to competition. The regulation of markets is we have a government body that will tend to regulate that particular market. The problem of regulatory capture, obviously we talk about the financial crash, 2008, 2009. Privatisation has worked in certain areas, e.g. British Telecom, British Airways. Privatisation has not worked, water, rail and energy systems. So these are the arguments for nationalisation, but we can give examples of where it has worked and where it hasn't worked. Grade A answer on here.